last video that I just did, and this is going to resonate with divine beings, chosen ones, okay? You know how that workplace or those workplaces you worked at, and let's say there's some things in there that are kind of out of alignment, or you notice that something's dirty or something can be improved, or there's some type of lack or disharmony or imbalance um, with something, with anything. And just naturally by design, because of your attention to detail, because you're a light being, you may make some necessary adjustments or changes to improve whatever that is, right? You may offer suggestions, you feel me, that can create more balance or harmony to that workplace, okay? Whether that be product, whether that be equipment, whether that be orientation and ambiance, okay? Whether that be communication, whatever. Think about those meetings where the floor was open for people to give suggestions and stuff like that. Whenever you would offer sound, suggestions, because of what you can clearly see that for whatever reason, most people are overlooking, or the boss, the owner, the manager, they're overlooking wherever it is. You may not get the response or the reaction that you think or that you supposed to get in the upright. Instead, you may get some type of rebuttal. Instead, you may receive condescending remarks. Okay. Instead, you may receive deflection. Okay, sarcasm. People trying to downplay or overlook or override, discard, or ignore your suggestion, your advice, your counsel, even when they ask for it. Y'all know there is a such thing of people asking for help, asking for advice, asking for counsel, but they're wanting to be pacified. They're not looking for you to really, they're not really looking for somebody to really give them, some type of counsel or advice that's going to hold them accountable. Okay, that's going to require some type of edification, some type of level up, some type of upgrade, some type of change. They don't want to hear constructive criticism. You have people who they only want to be the instruments, the voices of constructive criticism, but due to them not operating out of light or operating out of some type of dim lighting, it don't really turns out to be constructive. It just ends up being criticism, right? Let's just unpack this. So this is why maybe you didn't last at that job that long. Okay, this is why it seemed like every time, y'all work somewhere, y'all don't end up being there that long. Y'all are just there for a season. But I guarantee you did what you were supposed to do while you was there. I guarantee you left your mark. I guarantee you there was some type of change, transformation, transmutation while you were there. I guarantee you there was some judgment placed on anybody who abused you for shining your light, especially when you didn't do anything out of ill intent. Okay, you didn't do anything with the intentions to harm anybody. You made these suggestions, you offer, your input, all with the intent to improve or add substance, to an environment, to a situation, to a product. Okay, so but you did your part. Your job, okay, as a divine being, was to go somewhere where there's some type of shadows, there's some type of darkness, there's some type of illusions, okay, that are affecting other people. Okay, it's affecting innocent people. Okay, it's making pure-hearted people vulnerable. Like, for example, with workplaces, there's something there that management or faculty staff may be overlooking, that the divine may send you into there because you're a light, so you have attention to detail. The divine may send you in there to shine light on whatever that is, and then make necessary adjustments, on behalf of protecting innocent, you know, um, people who are going to go to wherever this place is to render some type of, or to receive some type of services. Okay, things that may be a threat to their physical health, their emotional health, their psychological health, their emotional health, whatever it is. You know, the divine really genuinely on purpose puts us on assignments and missions to go to places where there's some type of plague of darkness that is harming innocent people, places, and things. Okay, it can even be a landscape, like a ley line. Okay, it can be your presence just passing through an area where there's a need for rejuvenation or restoration. Okay, you know, I heard spirit say to me tonight that just because people may not listen to whatever that truth is that you're speaking, just because there may not be an audience, just because that conversation or those thoughts may just be in your mind, or may just be between you and the divine, the spirit team, you in a quiet space, does not mean that it does not have power, that it does not move mountains, that it does not create shifts, because it does. It's all about you using your light for good. You using your light to will balance. You using your light to will harmony. Period. You know how you go into deep thought about certain things, people, and places, and it's almost like there's an unraveling that unfolds while you're in that deep thought. That is your light dismantling some type of darkness. That's literally what that is. Whether there's another person in the room with you or not, whether you're around people or not, whether it's a direct conversation with other people or not, that's besides the point. So yeah, everything done in the dark comes to the light. This could be, you know, people inquiring about you, asking you or inviting you to places, inviting you to come work at a job, inviting you to attend an event, inviting you to their home, inviting you over for the holidays, whatever. What's done in the dark comes to the light. People being attracted to you, being attracted to your light, and they don't have good intentions. Being attracted to your light and they full of devils. Okay, being attracted to your life and they are like mentally twisted and sick and, you know, evil as fuck. But the whole point of the dark coming to the light is to expose, is to reveal, is to purify, detoxify, decalcify. Okay? There's the whole point is to create balance. You're that balancer to the divine or of the divine. You're one of the scales. Okay? You're a neutralizer. You may even be associated with being somebody that's neutral. Like when it comes to groups and cliques and stuff like that, you may be considered or viewed as somebody that's neutral, right? You don't have any ulterior motives of agendas or like selfish, doing something out of selfish gain. You're literally doing or offering or giving of your energy to help, to be of service, to be essential, okay? Like doing what is necessary. You could be somebody that's attracted to jobs and tasks that are necessary, that are essential to our environment, that are necessary and essential, you know, to our communities. You could, you know, this could be something that's naturally innate to you, because that's the whole point of you being a divine being. That's the whole point. Not just for you to just be here, you know, live your life and, you know, retain being a good person, have good character, being a pure hearted being, because in essence, when you are a good-hearted being, good character, have integrity, pure heart, and all that, yes, you should retain that. But in essence, when you're somebody like that, you're going to be faced with situations where there's some type of unfairness going on. There's some type of imbalance going on. Okay, you may be faced with the presence or energy of abuse. You may be met with the energy of somebody taking advantage of you or somebody else. You may be met with, somebody capitalizing on something, a people, place, or thing. And that's when your purity, you retaining the pureness of your heart really matters. That's when maintaining, being an upright person really matters. Like, can you project your uprightness? Can you project your righteousness? Can you project your integrity? Can you project your truth out in the world or the environment around you, wherever you go? Your presence is supposed to embody this energy to oppose energies that are otherwise adversarial to balance and harmony. Energies that are opposing or adversarial to love, trust, truth, unity, okay? Positive or healthy unity, okay? If you are met with some type of coven or people who have unified in order to sow ill will, sow distortion, the reason why you are met with these gang stalkers, okay, the reason why they target you is because you're on assignment to annihilate them. You're on assignment to dismantle whatever that is. And in most cases, you're not the first person that they teamed up together, okay, in evilness to attack somebody. You are not the first person. However, you are that sword of truth that they're going to come at, okay, by their own doing, by their own willpower. It's almost like, think about how delusional it is, or how suicidal it is for a person to, let's say you're holding a sword of truth, and you're holding that sword of truth like just forward, but you're not attacking anybody, you're not charging at anybody, but because you're that light, hence truth, hence love, hence integrity. Imagine those people, those sowers of iniquity coming towards you. Imagine what that looks like for somebody to just walk themselves into your sword. And it's like, dang, you don't see, you don't feel that? Like, you're bleeding. Clean yourself up, you're bleeding. Like, you don't see, like, that don't hurt. Like, damn. And they just walking deeper and deeper as the sword penetrates deeper and deeper and deeper. That's the reality of, how these interactions really go when it comes to evil versus divinity. I don't care how deep they may seem to be, okay, with their evil minions. I don't care how big the lies are. I don't care if they created AI videos. I don't care if they recruited people to carry on the lie. At the end of the day, when the truth is spoken, when the light is revealed, when the sun comes up. I remember I have this book on superstitions, and it said, there was something I read that says, every time the sun comes up, that basically means, or to some cultures, it represents the divine defeating darkness every fucking day. Every time the sun comes up, that shit is like, that represents the divine. I mean, the divine, that define the divine defeating darkness every day. This is why people, think that if they gang stalk and bully somebody in numbers, they hope and pray or even do witchcraft to try to get that person to commit suicide, take themselves out, harm themselves, okay, doubt themselves, put out their own light, go somewhere and crouch, in a corner, silence themselves, stop speaking up for themselves, stop standing up for themselves, give up on life and don't get up and remain ambitious. Don't get up and continue in your purpose. Don't get up and still be loving, still be pure, still enjoy your life and still be grateful. And every time you do, that's you defeating them every fucking time. That's why Some people are literally jealous and envious of people who are genuinely joyful, genuinely at peace with themselves, no matter what the fuck is going on, no matter what they've gone through, no matter how many betrayals they've overcome. That is you. That is how you overcome the betrayal. You don't give up on yourself. You don't stop going. It don't matter if you see me or not, you can hear me. But that's literally what that is. You continuing to rise. You continuing to get up and keep going. That's literally the battle between dissension and ascension. Those who choose to ascend and those who allow themselves to descend are being met and faced with the same fucking battles, with the same gravitational pulls. There's always going to be an energy, an entity, a principality, spiritual wickedness in high places, trying to pull you down, trying to cause you to descend, and if possible, cause you to die. And that's why death and rebirth is such a phenomenon. That's why resurrection, that's what it means to resurrect. Even if there's a part of you that has to die, there are some things that is necessary. Death is inevitable, right? Death is inevitable. But if you pay attention to the seasons, spring, summer, fall, winter, spring, summer, fall, winter, spring, summer, fall, winter. Death and rebirth, death and rebirth, death and rebirth. And we are reflections of nature. Hence why they want us to be disconnected from nature. Hence why they want to create so much chaos, confusion, distortion in nature. Because in essence, they're trying to create that within us. But God ultimately is in control of nature. Not these human beings and this shit that they create. To try and influence the weather so they can get some goddamn money, so they can create hysteria and all the reasons that they do, basically ultimately just to manipulate people, to get what they want out of a situation. There is nothing new under the sun. Nothing new. So if you manage to fall into those dark nights of the soul, if you go back into the cocoon, if you go back into the void, the baby gonna come out the womb eventually. The sun gonna come back up once it's daytime again and no longer nightfall. Even when it's all murky in the sky at night and cloudy and all this fog, you feel me? And you can't see the stars on particular nights. The stars are still there. There's going to come a night where you're going to see those stars again. Right? When you get a tan, if you stay out the sun, for example, long enough in the cold, you feel me, your skin gonna lighten up again. I'm just saying, like, it don't matter what people do to try to cloak you in darkness or create darkness in your life. At the end of the day, all you need to know to keep going is that the sun keeps coming up. Even when there's storms, I don't care how crazy the storms get. It can be an ice storm. It can be hail. It can be a tornado, a hurricane, tsunamis, thunderstorm for days, for weeks. It don't matter. At the end of the day, the sun gonna come back up. There's gonna be some flowers. some fruit, some veggies. You know, something's going to grow out of that. And that's how you have to operate in this life, in every life. That's how you win. That's what makes you the victor. That's what takes you from the 5 of Wands to the 6 of Wands, the victor. That's if you are in a 4 of Wands situation. If you are in a 3 of Wands planning to obtain the 4 of Wands, which is stability. 3 of Wands is planning in the future, okay? 4 of Wands is structure, stability, right? 5 of Wands is conflict and competition. Or it can be gaining skills. Get to the 6 of Wands. I'm telling you, bro, I'm telling you. All you got to do sometimes is just walk away and let them fight themselves. That's literally what's going on with the 6 of Wands card. There's a person on a horse trolleying away on the fucking horse. And they left those people who wanted to create conflict, confusion, and distortion and went to battle, blah, 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 blah. Want to be competitors. They left them to fight with themselves. And then when you leave from the 6 of Wands, where you go? To the 7 of Wands. Protected. Defending yourself. Being protected by divine forces. And then what they do once you protect yourself? What do they do once you now that you're guarded? What do they try to do? 8 of Wands. Projection. Project shit onto you. Try to get you to put your defenses down. Okay. Yeah. So then you go into the 9 of Wands. Perseverance. All you gotta do is persevere. All you gotta do is persevere. And then you get to the 10 of Wands. That's when they try to, put the world on your shoulders, or hard work. Some things will require hard work. You feel me? Or they try to trick you into thinking that. And then how the 10 of Wands is also, he don't have to keep holding those wands. Just drop them. Drop them. You can either drop those wands, or you can take some type of creative action with those wands and build some shit. Right? It's up to you. It's up to you. You clearly have the experience, okay? Going through the 5 of Wands. You got the experience. You got what it takes. Okay? You got the experience. So, you see what you was able to do with that 1 wand in the 7 of Wands when there was 6 wands coming up against you. You was able to defend yourself with that 1 fucking wand. Literally. 8 of Wands also represents forward movement or some type of quick action. Something speeding up. That's also what the 8 of Wands represent. It makes me think of how the way that God operates with us. As long as you take a few steps, bro, towards righteousness. Okay, towards being, taking your life serious, okay? Like, towards something that's purpose, something that's useful, something that's essential to your environment or to the community or to your legacy, to your ancestry, your generations. Bro, you take a few steps, God will add double that to that. All you need is faith the size of a mustard seed. That's all you need. Hell, and what grows from that 1 mustard seed? A huge amount of more mustard seeds once that plant grows. I'm just saying. Just saying. Just saying. So that phrase of stepping out on faith, when people think that even though all you did was shine your light, because that's simply who you are, and because they teamed up together, they created illusions, they try to create false narratives about you, they try to distort people's perception of you, they try to defame your character and ruin your reputation, blah 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 blah. Step out on faith. Be brave and courageous enough to walk away. Be brave enough to take that fucking tiny ass pebble, put it in a slingshot, and aim for that giant's forehead. Because when it comes to the situations that they try to put us in, that they try to put God's people in, I guarantee you, they don't have that same boldness, that same courage, because our courage and boldness and confidence is rooted in the divine. They don't have that. They don't have that fortitude. So just like, yeah, David may be small in stature, David might be younger than y'all, David, whatever people's reasons and excuses are for trying to bully you or isolate you or leave you out or count you out, whatever their reasons and excuses are. It don't matter if it's a whole army. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about that story. It was a whole army of grown-ass men with armor. They had on armor and shields. David had a pebble and a slingshot. They were all afraid of Goliath. All those men, even though it was so many of them, five of wands, it was so many of them band team up together. They was afraid of that giant. But David had no fear and was full of courage and strength and boldness. Why? Because even though they was teamed up together, they couldn't offer each other courage. They couldn't offer each other any substance, any empowerment. They had no power, even though all of them was teamed together. And what makes it even worse, y'all whole career, the whole purpose of y'all being in this community is supposed to be a fucking army. Y'all supposed to be an army. Hello. Did you forget your assignment? They forgot God. That's the difference between divine beings, between chosen ones and these people, okay, who are allowing themselves to be vessels and instruments of evil, okay, who feels triggered by being exposed. God damn. If something is hurting you on your body, right, and then you show somebody, like, I'm feeling some type of pain or some type of tension in this area, right? And you ask for some extra eyes to check that area to see, like, why do I feel this? And the person is able to identify why you feel the discomfort and the pain in that area, and then and then you take it a step further and offer a solution. They get triggered by not only you seeing what's causing the pain, but also you offering a solution. Shit. And so sometimes you just gotta let people sit there and get infected. Sometimes you have to leave people with their infections. Sometimes you gotta let it get worse. You gotta let it get stank. Okay? Unfortunately, man, and it has nothing to do with you. That has everything to do with their free will. That's how God operates with all of us, and that's how we're meant to operate with those around us. Period. If you can clearly see that alcohol is causing somebody's stomach to swell, causing their face to swell. If you can clearly see, yo, you seem like you pregnant, I don't think you should keep drinking the alcohol, right? But they get triggered with you because you don't tell me what to do. You don't tell me how to run my life. Ain't nobody trying to tell you how to run your life. I'm identifying something that is harmful to you or harmful to that child. Sometimes you gotta let the motherfucker keep drinking alcohol. Sometimes you gotta let them harm that child, unfortunately, and have that baby come out with alcohol fetal. It's fucked up to say, ain't it fucked up? But guess what? That is them and not you. You did your due diligence by shining your light. But just like vampires run away from the light, because it causes this surface, how they present themselves on the surface, to burn, disintegrate, eradicate, fade. Allow that. Allow that to be an indicator that, okay, this person has some type of dark attachment. 1. 2, this person is just not of the divine at all. 3, this person is a soulless being. 3, 4, this person is on assignment on some demon shit, demon time. I'm talking to a whole demon. I'm talking to a demon. It can be any of those scenarios. But even if you manage to let yourself follow darkness, get pulled into somebody else's darkness, okay, because of your love for them, whatever, bro, just come back up like the sun. Just rise up out that shit, bro. Because more than likely, even when you quote unquote go down, like the sun goes down, sundown, into darkness, as a divine being and a chosen one, more than likely you still the moon amidst that darkness. You still, your light, it takes a lot to put your light out. It takes a lot to put your light out. And that's one of the greatest gifts that God can give us, is our light.